Hello. Hello. Okay, so my client and Flirt Harder alum, Lillian Francis, is here, and we're going to be giggling, speaking about her experience and her transformation going through this program, Flirt Harder. So Lillian, we're going to give you guys an opportunity at the end of this little chat to connect with her in all of the ways, because she's always doing dope shit. She's an amazing musician. She just sent me a draft of her song, You're Not My Fucking Boyfriend, which is such a banger. So definitely check out her music. We'll tie those loose ends at the end. But Lillian is here to share about her experience going through Flirt Harder. So I would love to start by opening with the question of, can you take us to life like BFH before Flirt Harder? What was life like BFH? And what were you experiencing in the realm of love life and flirtation?
Yes, Queen, absolutely. First off, thank you so much for having me today. It is my pleasure. The TLDW, Too Long Didn't Watch, of this whole shenanigan is that Flirt Harder fucking rocks. Absolutely changed my life. Absolutely invest in it. So that's what I will say to start out with. Life before Flirt Harder, it was big time pandemic energy, right? That was like December 2020. So I hadn't had any romantic interest in 10 months or something. So I was feeling extremely not sexy, not desirable, not like having, I always feel sexy because I'm myself, but not feeling like other people were getting that, you know? It's just like I didn't have anywhere to put my flirtation or myself. So I wasn't really connecting with men on a romantic level. And yeah, just like very lacking intimacy in my life and feeling very bummed about it.
Yeah, and I remember too, like you were kind of talking to some guys, and like getting some feedback of like, you're so great, but like I'm not seeing you in that way, and that was feeling frustrating and annoying that they could not perceive your very obvious sexiness.
Yeah, well, TBH, I was very tied up on this one boy who I big time was crushing on. I think that's another reason I wanted to do Flirt Harder is because I like love this boy and I was like, okay, we just have to do like operation, get him to see that I am the one for him. And he turned out absolutely not to be the one for me, and that's great. And that's another thing that Flirt Harder showed me. But yeah, actually I had a big crush on this boy and he was just not feeling it. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I feel like for like my kind of like whole life, I've always been like, I think I'm awesome. I have so much fun by myself. Why is it so hard to get guys?
Mm,
Like the whole like getting dudes thing has always like been a little bit of a mystery to me,
mhm. But not anymore.
but not anymore.
We're gonna get to that momentarily. Beautiful. So, what could you tell us a little bit about your decision making process of like, you see this thing, this Flirt Harder thing, you're like, what was happening for you internally as you decided to move forward into the experience?
Yeah, I think I just really wanted all the help I could get because I knew that the foundation was here. I know I'm a beautiful, desirable human. It just wasn't clicking in the ways that I needed it to click. So my decision making process was like, yeah, I want to be a better flirter. Oh, there's something that can help me connect with guys and attract not only men to my life, but anything to my life. Like I flirt with my friends. I flirt with people that I like want to connect with, you know? Like I'm constantly flirting and I love Cora. I feel like you bring that energy to everything too. It's like not just flirting with men, it's flirting with life.
Mhm.
And I have a lot of shit that I want. There are a lot of miracles that I would like to attract my way. So that was kind of my decision making. It's like I want to be as good as possible at doing this. I want to have all the tools and I got them.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember too, like to your point, well, number one, I'm always saying this when I'm talking about Flirt Harder, but like this is like the turning point for so many people, like mastering this this realm of creating and holding and reading attraction and reading feedback and giving feedback. And like, this is the turning point for so many people, because like literally dating and love life is this realm where like, this is the gateway skill to someone seeing you in this way. This is the gateway skill to like, oh, I meet this cute stranger. Like, what do I fucking do about it? Like, how do I create the vibe? So I'm always saying that, sharing that, because it's true as I'm promoting this program. So thank you for touching on that. And then to your second point, like, this is actually, yes, it's about like the romantic experiences, but it's really about tapping into a quality in life and an approach to life. And I say that a lot through the program of like, flirting as a lifestyle. Because as we talk about in the program, like there's flirting to escalate, there's flirting from the space of like sexual romantic energy, and then there's also flirting from a friendly place. And what we talk about in the program too is like the difference and how to create the difference. But like, I remember during the program, you so as we said, Lillian's a musician. I remember you like went camping or something, and you were playing around a campfire, and you were to like a crowd of people, and you were like flirting with them, like it like for your stage presence. This, you can like seduce the audience, right? For like career stuff, like this extends so much more. And I remember also as we were going through the program, a couple of the guys were having like fashion revolutions. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, totally.
Because it's like, what happens when flirting, it's, you know, it is a skill, it's also an art, and it's really a form of playful self-expression that allows people to see you in a certain life. So that being said, this like very much impacts effectively and directly your love life. And like, there's so many more benefits and byproducts that beyond that.
Yeah. Oh my God, thank you for bringing up the guitar thing, because I totally, yeah, it has changed my stage presence so much in terms of like holding the tension confidently, you know? Like, I would just like stand up and look at my audience and be like, hi guys, you know, just like wait to like command everyone's attention before you get started. It's very much like, you should be looking my direction, and I'm not gonna shout, I will whisper and turn. It's such a cool, powerful thing to do. Yeah,
because really, I mean, the skill of this, and I feel like so much of the confidence too comes from like breaking it down. So there's no like, what I observe in a lot of my clients is that the uncertainty is what kind of creates an environment where the confidence isn't present. Because where there's uncertainty, they're like, what do I not do? What do I not like? But once you understand, okay, what is flirting? Like, what are the energetics of it? What are the functions of it? What does it look like? What does it look like when someone is flirting with me? What's the vocal intonation? What's the body language? Like, in deconstructing it in the way that we do through the program, like what you get is clarity. And then from that clarity, like the confidence builds with each experience. And really, like, to Lillian's point, this is about wielding energy, whether that's on stage in your stage presence, whether that's like on a date, like whatever. This is about like the joy of confidently wielding energy and like commanding presence.
Yeah, big time.
Hell yeah. So will you share with us, please, some of your turning points or like biggest breakthrough moments, or like when things really started to click for you around?
Yeah, I have so many aha moments, honestly. The biggest one, and like when I go to parties and I tell people that I was in a flirting class, and everyone's like, what? And asking me more, and then I do like a little like flirting seminar with everyone. First thing that I think of, and like the number one thing to flirting, is like, be yourself. It's almost like it is so simple, you know, like the simplest thing is do what lights you up and what makes you happy and what makes you confident in yourself, and that will attract everyone to you. Or not everyone, actually, which is the other point. It's about finding your truest authentic self and displaying that and leaning into your quirkiness and leaning into leaning into your charisma, which is your own brand of charm, and letting people who are into that come to you, and let everyone else who is not into that go.
Hmm.
And like that was huge for me because it's like, oh, I literally just have to be myself and let go of the idea that everyone has to like me. Like they really don't. And like I get 100% of the men that I am into now that I'm exclusively into men who are into me.
Mm, damn.
Such a life
Yeah.
hack. Oh
Yeah,
my
because
God.
you're literally that becomes the qualifier. That
Yeah.
becomes a one of the primary qualifiers. And I remember too, I mean, you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that you signed up for this program because there was this guy that you were into. And I remember as we were learning about reading feedback and like, oh, like escalating things and like being seeing if the other person reciprocates and all of that. Like I remember that you had an interaction with him where you brought in some of the strategies and the energetics that we learned, and you saw, oh, he's not nibbling on the carrot that I'm off. Like, oh, okay. Like now I have this clarity that like now I have this clarity, and you were able to move on. And
Yeah.
like look at all these other guys who are waiting for you. Like
Yeah.
all these other guys who are waiting for you. And like that is so empowering to be like, and that's part of what's empowering about like um developing these skills is that like you're able to see by floating things out there in a way that can feel low stakes at first, and like you're able to de-escalate the dynamic if you're seeing, okay, they're not picking up they're not like nibbling on the carrots that I'm dangling for them. It's really empowering to be able to read that of like even when it's, oh, they're not flirting back, cool, I have I have a clear read on that, so I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, because I'm so not into anyone who's not into me. Like, my baseline is worship me.
Yeah,
Truly.
yeah.
You know, and like I can expect that. I do expect that, and I receive that
Mhm.
from the right men. There are men, like, so many men are not into me. I'm great with that. There are plenty of women or other men out there who are perfect for them. But the men who are into me because I'm being authentic to myself and because I'm happy with my life and I like myself and I portray myself authentically, the men who are into that are really into that.
Yeah.
Like this, and yeah, the giving space, that was huge for
Oh
me.
yeah, that was, I feel like that was your biggest
Giving
breakthrough, like
space.
leaving space and like not taking like a leaving space for them to actually step into some directive leadership energy with you.
Yes.
That was huge. And I remember seeing that in the flirting parties. So like that to me was like when things really started to shift.
Yeah, giving space for feedback was a huge point. Um, but like about the like you like being authentically yourself, I was hanging out, I met a guy this weekend who was quite infatuated with me. And at one point, he had been like on the road, like living out of his van for like 3 years. And at one point, when we were in a hot tub under a bed of stars watching shooting stars together, naked, and he just like out of nowhere, well, one out of nowhere, he was just like, you are the most unique person I have met in my 3 years on the road. I was
Wow.
like, wow, thank you. And he was so into that and followed it up with, I'm extremely attracted to you right now. And I was just like, thank you so much.
Yes. And like what night and day under a naked under a bed of stars from prior. That's so awesome. Yeah, I'm always getting messages from Lillian, and she was just telling me that she like only sends me a fraction. I'm like, send me all of them. That's just like, I was camping, I was, romping with this hot rock climber and he was doting upon me. Like you're just like having a blast and like magnetizing men from every direction.
No, it's fantastic.
I love
I'm
it.
truly living my best life. It's fantastic.
I
Yeah.
love to see it. Awesome. So what can you
Oh,
touch on a
another
couple like
thing, another thing I have to touch on,
yeah.
men love boundaries so fucking much.
Yeah.
It is insane. And that's a big thing that we touch upon in Flirt Harder is like setting your boundaries is a high value action. Is that what you call it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I get that comment from a lot of men. It's like, wow, you're really good at setting boundaries. It's really hot. And yeah, it just like
Yeah.
knowing your shit, knowing what you want, and then asking for it. people will step up to whatever level you set the bar at. If you set the bar up here because you're like, I like this, this, and this, and this, they will either give that to you or they won't, and they will go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, setting boundaries is so much fun because
It's
they
so
know how
much
to
fun.
step up to it because they love the challenge.
Yes, the energy of the
Another
challenge,
flirting
and
entry.
also it creates more, like beyond the flirty energy. First of all, we touch on in the program how to how actually setting boundaries gets to be really flirtatious, and that is this intersection of
Oh,
invitation and challenge, and also it creates emotional safety because they know what's up, they know what's okay, they know what's not okay, and especially for men, and of course in this program we offer a lot of different perspectives to plug into, and like there's many different styles, and as you go through the program you're going to resonate with certain styles or certain kind of flirting flavors more than others. But I love that you brought that in because we definitely do talk about that in the program, and I love that, like, even for anyone watching this, like beyond Flirt Harder, just like remember that um men love boundaries, and it's
love
so
them.
interesting. Yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
wonderful. So would you share with us a couple of, we touched on this a little bit, but just a couple of highlight flirting experiences that you've had since taking the program?
Oh man. I mean, this last weekend was a really good like flirting experience that I like just mentioned. Just like in creating tension, and putting up boundaries because I very much like received his compliments and like didn't do anything about it. I was like, you can dote on me all you want, and I received them, and also I'm like not gonna do anything about it. And like that just made him want me even more. So like that was a good one. Let's see. The other week I sent you this, Cora. Like the other week at the rock climbing gym, I was like talking to some dude and I was like, "Can I guess your name?" And he was like, "Okay." And I was like, "All right, how many guesses do I get?" Just like being playful, like
You're
shit like
such an
that.
expert, such an expert.
Like 20, and I was like, "Oh, 20, I got this." But I was like, "All right," like, and then I like left him, and then I would just like shout at him from across the rock gym. I'd be like, "Bartholomew!" And like he wouldn't respond. I'd be like, Steve. He wouldn't respond. And then just like, and then I like wouldn't see him for like a half an hour, and then I like pop back in and I'd be like, it's Robert. Just like being playful like that. Like that was really fun. Let's see, what's another good one? I ran into a guy who I knew from like 5 years ago. He was like this like older, hotter dude, and I recognized him, but he couldn't remember where he knew me from. And he was like, where, like, how do I know you? And I'm like, ooh, I'm not telling, and like didn't tell him how he knew me. And like he was like grasping for straws. He's like, you look so familiar. And I'm like, I know I do because we met before, and like just like egging him on. And then I was like, time to go. And he's like, okay, like tell me who you are. And I'm like, no, but you let me know when you find out. And then like left, and I'm like, I know homeboy's gonna be thinking about me all night, like trying to place
Uh,
me. And then he has to come to me when he figures out who I am. It's like that
wow.
was a fun one. And my like dude friend was with me, and as soon as we left, he was like, "Oh my God, you were killing that guy." And I was like, "What, me?" And he was like, "Yeah, you were flirting so hard." And I was like, "Me?" And like, I honestly don't even realize that I'm flirting because it's like so embodied now that like I actually don't realize that I'm flirting with people because my flirting strategy is almost just like not flirting with them and making them feel really good and like really seen. Like that's another thing, not just like flirtation because I want something from someone, but just flirting with people and like the world in general is being a good listener and making people feel seen. And I feel like I've been like really leaning into that lately. Like I just want to know what makes people tick because like I'm interviewing them. Like, I want to know if you're good enough for me. So like I spend a lot of time like getting to know people and like how they act, and it makes them feel seen. I think feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, and what an expert example of creating intrigue, which is another big thing we talk about. I love that so much. And he also, you were saying before we started recording that what was it? The other night you went to a show and what some guy, what was it? What, can you say it again?
Oh, wait.
Crowd. You went the last week, like you went somewhere and some guy was like giving you his number when you came in, and then some guy was like,
how I went dancing last night.
Oh, last night. Okay.
Last night I went dancing, and on the way out, like this guy like hands me a love letter, and I was like, oh, like thank you so much. Like tucked it in my little pocket, and then I'm like walking out the door, and this like other man just like swoops in and walks me home. You know?
Yes. Yes. It was always intended to be. Oh my God, that's phenomenal.
And I honestly, it's all every time it happens, I'm like, what is happening? You know, it's almost like I'm like confused because I don't feel like I've changed. Like that's the thing. Like I feel like I've always been this way, except for now men are responding to it very differently. And I guess I know what the difference is. The difference is like my detachment from the outcome. You know, it's like either you're into me or you're not into me, and I'm only interested in men who are into me. So I don't care if you're into me because a lot of other men are into me. And like the other day, oh yeah, I was at the Apple store last week, and one of the like guys working there was super hot, and so I wrote down my number on a piece of paper, wrote down my name, went up to him, and I was like, hey, I haven't done anything today that scares me, so I'm giving you my number. I think you're very handsome. And just like handed it to him and walked away, and like turned around as I was like leaving the Apple store, and him and his colleague were just looking at me like and he didn't hit me up. And I'm fine with that, because another thing about flirting is like gifting people the gift of desirability, you know? Like I bet that fucking made his day. I doubt he gets it a lot. And like that's so cool to be able to give that to him. And like I don't care if he hits me up. I don't know. He probably has a girlfriend. He was super hot, you know?
Yeah. And in front of his coworker, no less. You made him look. What a gift. Exactly. And that's so much what we talk about on Flirt Harder, of like really like this is about like, you know, gifting, being generous with these moments of making other people feel desirable, and inevitably that comes back. Yeah, 100%. Oh my God. So how would you describe? Yeah, how would you?
So low. It doesn't matter. The stakes are so low.
Exactly, the stakes are so low, especially. And what I love and what I'm seeing and hearing is like the biggest shift, and like this is not only with you kind of like fine tuning and like refining the energetics of your interactions with men, but like what I see is that you're having a fucking blast.
Oh yeah.
You're having a fucking blast just because you can, and because you can interact with people in this way, and like that is what is so magnetizing.
Yeah. I definitely have a lot of fun. People know it.
Oh, so good. Awesome. So I feel like we've gotten the vibe, but just to round us out here, how would you describe your experience in love, dating, romance, flirting, post Flirt Harder? AFH.
AFH. I have so many men trying to court me. I do not know what to do with them. So many men trying to court me that I had to write a song called You're Not My Fucking Boyfriend, because all these men trying to like get a hold of my time, trying to like hang out with me, trying to do all this shit for me, and like it's great. It's fucking awesome. I'm having so much fun. Yeah, everything has shifted. I really feel like I'm just like so blessed, and like so many men to connect with. I feel like that's a big shift too, is I feel like I'm meeting so many amazing men all the time. Whereas beforehand I was like, I don't know, like where do I meet great guys? They're everywhere, literally all the time, and they want to date me. It's great. Yeah.
I'm so happy. This truly is the shit I live for.
I'm so happy. Cora, thank you so much for embodying everything that you teach and being so good at what you teach. Like, I also had so much fun on every call. Like, I looked forward to every call. I have rewatched almost every single video too. Like I listen to them when I'm driving as like podcasts. I get like refreshers all the time, like pick me ups. Like there's just so much gold to go over, and like it does take a couple, rounds to really let it sink in. So I just like, I keep listening to them. I keep learning new stuff. And as I change and develop, different things are hitting me in different ways. So I'm just so grateful that I could take the class and recommend it so highly. There's no way you could take this class and not come out of it a more confident, successful flirter with romantic partners and with life. It's 100.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I receive that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you just hit the nail on the head yet again. My final question is what would you say to someone considering jumping into this program?
I would say, you know what you want to do and do it. Like you've already made the decision, you're just looking for like a sign or like permission to do it, and this is your sign and permission that you should really fucking do it, because it is the gift that keeps giving, because it doesn't end with like flirtation and like getting a date. It like builds.
It
The
all
confidence in flirting builds out to every single aspect in your life, and it's so worth it. You should really fucking take this class.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Lillian. And thank you everyone watching. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.
Oh, I sure do. I love talking about flirting. Find me at a party, guys, and I'll give you the master class.
Yeah, Lillian is spreading the gospel, which is what needs to happen and why I invited her in today, because I'm like, this is such a game changer that like we got to spread the gospel.
We got to talk about it.
We got to talk about it. We simply got to. Beautiful. So where can people find you if they want to check out their music or slide into your DMs?
Yeah, you can slide into my DMs at Lillian Francis, Francis with an ES, and I will try to get back to all of you. And you can find my music on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, wherever you get your music at Lillian Francis.
Awesome. Thank you, Lillian, and thank you everyone who is watching. Enjoy the hell out of Flirt Harder.
Bye.